Good morning. Another beautiful day. The sun is shining through my window, and I see my Buddhas silhouetted and my beautiful plants there. So it's a beautiful day, and meditation has been interesting this morning. On my own, I was really feeling this nervous energy, not being able to be fully grounded, and then joining the group I felt this extra ability to ground and to be present, and it was really strong. So I'm very grateful that I do have a group that I can be with. And something really quickly came to me when I started meditating in the group, and there was this kind of openness and message, I guess you could say. The sensation was the feeling that like I'm waiting for something outside of myself to rise or shift, and the response and what it was, what the response was inwardly was, it's not from outside me that it arises. It's from within me that it all arises. And it was like, whoa. And then it was really beautiful because I sat with that and got to visit some places in my history, or in Gwen's history, where she was feeling that it was coming from outside her, or there was this idea, or how she's explained it is coming from outside of her. When or Gwen was really little, probably between 7 and 8 years old, there was an experience that I had where I started to really be with the emotions and the feelings that were in my body and allowing to be with them. And it became so overwhelming. I didn't know how to deal with it. I felt so depressed and so sad that I actually was feeling at that young age like I wanted my life to end because it was so much. And I remember the sensation, and at that point turning to what I understood God to be and praying. And not a formal prayer, but it was from the deepest part of my soul to call out for assistance, because I've been taught in my faith that that's what God was for, that I could do that. And I had this immediate sensation of relief and light. And physically, where I was on my swing. It was this old rickety swing on outside of our old house, and there was this old pear tree nearby. And the horses that were on the lot next to us, there was a big land, probably 16, 17 acres where horses grazed, and they were there looking at me. And it was a cloudy day, and as I felt that light arise, it came through the clouds literally and shone upon me. It shone upon me, and there was this instant sense of relief and oneness that I felt, of absolute care and love. So that experience, I literally, outside of myself, experienced the sun shining on me. It was as if it was confirming the sensation that now as I sit with it, I know that actually all of that arose within me. It all arose within me. So I got to visit a few more places within myself where I had those sensations. The first time I'm just sharing stories right now, I guess. And when I was really getting to the point where me and my ex-husband, then my husband, we were separated, and I had this really huge, kind of break in my experience of what the world was and what things were. And there was a sensation that I had that inside of me, I was online, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with MySpace and what that was way back then, that on MySpace, and I was kind of chatting with a few people, and I said, I hear people say the word, I am God. You know, the words, I am God, that statement. And a part of me jumps up like saying, yes, that is true. But there's a part of me, and I know my mind doesn't understand that. It doesn't get that. It doesn't understand why that is true. And now I look at that and I'm like, of course, your mind cannot understand why that is true. And so it was this interesting experience. I started chatting with a man who became my teacher for a little while, and blessings to him. Oh my gosh, you know, things that he got to go through being kind of a mentor and a teacher, a spiritual mentor and a teacher. But there's an experience that he tried to walk me through, kind of an opening, if I could say, in an opening. And in that opening, it was kind of a similar experience of just opening to myself in light. There's this light that I experienced, and this just kind of, it pervaded my inner body. And it was something that was arising from inside of me. And what arose was only what I was able to, or capable to, or allowed to arise. And that's something that he spoke about. He was like, people who actually have a religious background, sometimes it's very hard for them to experience a true opening because they're so relating it to what they've been taught. They have these ideas in their head. That just kind of confine them and keep them in a certain box. And they can only relate to an opening in a certain way. And so I was having my own experience of opening. And so during meditation today, the man who led us, the quote he said, which was so amazing after I had this experience internally and remembered it, he said, we are killing the moment by controlling our experience. And the mind can't help but try to control our experience. And that's often what we do. We're like, I'm going to go to this place, and this is the kind of experience I'm going to have, and I'm going to show up in this way, and I'm going to meet this person. And thus, we are programming ourselves to have a certain kind of experience rather than actually being so open and available that what arises and what shows up can be almost anything, can be something we never really thought or dreamed could really happen. So these are kind of the ways that we block ourselves from actually experiencing this true, beautiful nature. After these many years of meditating, of being in spiritual practice, I look back on how I was then, and in a way I chuckle to myself. And I look back and I know, and I say, Gwen, you were always there. You were always there. And Gwen, as in the higher me, you were always there. You are always there. And it's like asking, of course, a fish to say what water is. And the water is always there. It's always been there. And it's a beautiful experience, just that being just a part, a little sliver of my experience of meditation today. I'll share more in just general musings, but I wanted to share that with you. If you're having trouble and you're trying to grasp, understand, we are killing the moment by by trying to control it. And if you're trying to have an exact certain experience with your meditation, perhaps it's time, if you take the opportunity and take a breath, to just let go that little bit more and actually see what arises within you.